My name is Punit Soni, and I'm the VP of Product for Software Experiences for Moto X.
So you're the man in charge of all this greatness today.
Greatness is going to be decided by you guys, but yes, my team has been responsible for all the software experiences you see on the device.
Okay. What's your favorite feature of everything that was announced today?
I really love active display, mostly because if I'm a power user and I end up using it 50 to 100 times a day just to look at the time and notifications, and I think it's one of those features which help you see, if you take it out of your pocket, it shows you the time. If you flip it over, it shows you the notifications. Without turning on the phone, I can actually get a lot of information that I ordinarily would keep turning the phone on.
I've noticed that you guys have downplayed the power button.
Yes.
It's just tiny. You can't even notice it's there anymore. Is that because of active display?
It's an evolution of our thinking that ultimately these phones do not need to be turned on as much as you think they need to. And there's a lot you can do on a day-to-day basis which does not require you to turn the phone on and look at the device. It should figure out that, hey, Vincent needs to know the time. He needs to know, what notifications coming in, and to be able to see, oh, I have a text message, and be able to just,
So if it's on like right now, there's nothing going on, it's breathing. How would you? Oh, there it goes again. Is that?
It keeps breathing.
Is it an interval that's being set up, or?
It breathes in and out, except when you actually want to look at it. So, for example, if it's breathing in and out, and I flip it out of my pocket, it'll immediately show up.
Okay.
Right? So every time I'll bring it out of my pocket or I will look at it, it'll show up. And so when you do that, then you can go and do a peek, and you can look at who called you, who messaged you, what the time was without turning the phone.
And if there's a lot of information, does it just scroll up on its own? Or can you scroll up and down?
At this point, you can only look at one notification and a few notifications behind it. But the hope is to evolve to a place where you can actually go and look at multiple and the same.
Is there an integration between active display and Google Now? Because Google Now kind of does the same thing, right? It gives you that active information.
I think the way you should look at active display is it's a third screen. So what are the two other screens? There is the home screen, and when you actually look at the home screen, then bring it up, there's a lock screen. And so this is the dead screen. It's the one screen that's sitting on your phone which you never use. And so if you could actually look at the third screen and provide a lot of ambient contextual information on the go, that's pretty magical. It's passive.
It's there when you need it. Exactly.
But it's there. It's always there. You look at that screen so many times
So that's geared towards average user. Guys like me, I get 20 notifications in 10 minutes.
Yes.
So what happens if it's just the latest 4 or 5 notifications? What happens to the 3 or 4 before that, and then?
So the way it works right now is when you get the topmost notification, you can do a peek view and it can show you what the notification was.
Okay.
It'll also show you what the other notifications behind it is. If you decide you want to see them, you just swipe down and it immediately gives you the access to them. Ultimately, I think we should be able to do a lot more, but this is the start.
This is the first start.
Yes.
I mean, can you tell us what's coming down the road?
No.
I have to try.
Well, the thing with this is, what you should take with you is the philosophy. Android team does an amazing job of putting together a basic software platform on which we can build our stuff. We have spent a lot of time building at the cusp of hardware and software, exactly at the place you don't think core Android should be building, to build experiences which are completely connected across the stack.
No, I completely agree. I mean,
and so what you should expect us to do in the future is more of the same.
Because I mean, at some point, everyone can do hardware, right?
Yes.
I mean, hardware will become normalized, and you've got almost the same processor, same chassis, same display, but it's really the hardware that really empowers the device itself. And I think that the active display is really nice, because for me personally, I get very tired of hitting that power button on a daily basis, and it's just really tiresome.
Hardware ultimately becomes a commodity on and on. Pure software anybody can build, but the cusp of hardware and software, tying it all together into a beautiful experience, is where I think
So how does active display work with stock Android? Because is it going to take a longer period of time to upgrade Android because of these low-level feature that's built into Android, or is it because, hey, Moto is now part of Google. Development is going to not take that long to get, like, for example, version 4.3. Can we expect to see that down the road?
Yeah, I think so. The architecture is built, it's architected in such a way that it's on top of the X8 infrastructure. And so you expect, if you want to modify the X8 infrastructure, to do firmware updates, which will require MRs. and upgrades. But we have evolved the actual functionality and packaged it such a way that you can actually do Play Store updates for active display. In the meantime, in parallel, maybe perhaps independently do updates on the firmware. And so that gives us the flexibility to keep giving you guys new features.
Gotcha.
But once in a while, we have to modify the entire firmware, then we do a
Okay, so each of those components can be upgraded through getting pushed through a firmware update independent of Android itself.
Yes.
Can you speak to a little bit about the camera, the processing power? Because quite frankly, I've been testing 4.3, the camera processor. It's not up to par to like HTC One or a few other cameras out there.
Yeah.
What, I mean, other than the RGBC camera technology, is there some processing power in the back or some software magic that's really making the 10 megapixel come to life?
Yeah, so I think what RGBC gives you is the ability to get almost 75% more light.
Okay.
But then when you get 75% more light, you have to process it.
Yeah, what do you do with all that?
And you can basically, we have done a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that when you have motion blur, we can actually capture it because you actually have a much faster camera at this point of time.
Are you using really fast memory? Because I was shooting just constantly, like 50 shots,
and you could keep
and it kept saving it.
Right.
I mean, as we were going,
Right.
What is that? Is that the low-level processing power that you're adding to that, or is that really the S4 Pro that's doing that, or is it a combination of everything?
It's a combination of those things. We've spent a lot of time optimizing the pace so that we can actually do. We've spent a lot of time optimizing the pace so that we can actually do these kind of camera shots. So that's why you will see you can keep tap, 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 and it'll keep taking photos.
Thanks so much for your time, and congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.